Record. Hey, everybody. Okay, this week's topic, okay, that I covered off in classes was resiliency. Okay, now um, it's an interesting topic because we need it in our life nowadays, right? It's one of those topics like we need to be really more resilient. But there's two things at play when you want to study resiliency or not giving up or being tough under pressure and those kind of things. Um, you also run into a parallel problem, which is stubbornness. So you got to kind of know the difference between stubborn and being resilient. So like I there's moments that of course I need to be hold tight. I need to not give up and those kind of things. But if I mistake that for if I mistake stubbornness for resilience, there is a noticeable difference. One, you'll see that you'll become injured. Usually, stubbornness will somehow lead itself to an injury of some sort or a real huge frustration or an anger, like it'll hit an emotional state. A good resilience, like if I'm doing something that and I'm just being tough about it, at the end of it has some sort of positive thing, right? So if I'm fasting, I might be annoyed at being hungry, but if I stick long enough, actually it goes away, and it doesn't. And I know at the end of fasting, I feel stronger and better. I'm not weaker and angry and bitter and accomplishing different things, right? So you have to look at you have to make sure that you measure when times where you've been stubborn, and I'm sure we have a lot of those. I don't know about you. I have more times where I've been stubborn and paid the price. I don't need any short of examples in my life, right? So and it happens a lot in martial arts. Somebody holds on to a position and they think they're just being tough and resilient, but it just looks stubborn. They just look like they're and how do you do that? Okay, so this is how you do that, and we'll get into like this the training. I want to give you some background to this. um if you're not able, if you don't have the wherewithal to understand your emotions and also the situational and emotional awareness of what's going on, resiliency training will go nowhere for you. You need to be able to understand the analytics and the numbers and things like this. Like you need to be very aware. Otherwise, it will mean nothing to you, right? So um, you got to put in a lot of work before that, right? Like I have to know what I have to have good examples of stubbornness, and I have to have good examples of when I gave up too soon. Like I was just really weak. Like I need to know both so that I can start to figure out where resiliency belongs. Does that make sense, guys? Or look, some of you have a question. Does that make sense? So you need to be able to, either write about it after class or just keep a track of when it happens, right? Was there a moment where you wished you could have been more resilient, like that if you tried a little bit harder it would have been a little bit more positive result, right? um, so this is the background stuff that has to happen before you start into the training. Okay. I find resiliency training has a lot of energy for me. I get a lot of energy out of it. I feel stronger, not just in the muscles in the body, but in the mind as well. Like I feel like, when you start to cold water douse or do a little fasting or, hold a push up for a long time, you realize you just become tougher. I don't know what to say. You just become, you don't give up. Things don't bother you as much, right? Like when I was doing a lot of cold water dousing, I would go outside with just a light jacket on and it never bothered me. It didn't, I was cold, but I just felt like I could deal with it. I wasn't so fragile, right? Um, I'm sure you've seen people in our society who don't have a coffee and they're ready to break apart. Like, you know what I mean? Or people that haven't eaten lunch and all of a sudden they're completely upset and annoyed. They seem so fragile. When you look around the world, people, not everybody eats, every day, and they're able to function just fine. And we seem kind of fragile with that stuff. So I find that um, building, having a program in your life and in your training and Systema to be more resilient, okay, to build that in. And I'll show you how I do it. And how you can start to build it. Now, the other thing I told everybody in class was you want to, so I'm going to teach you now how to build resiliency in somebody that doesn't have any. So this is like right from the get-go. Like you have not a thing. Like, like kids, like they're so weak or subtle, like this kind of stuff. Miro, for you with your kids as well, like it's actually trainable, right? Like you can actually train them not to give up so quick. So, but the trick is people jump to resiliency training as it must be suffering. Have you ever met a person that's unorganized in life, and you ask them to organize their life, and they hate it? And it's like, well, tell me about how you've organized your life. And they tell you, and I said, fuck, I hate that. Why would you do that? Why would you organize your life to have the life that you don't want? Organize your life to have the life that you want, not the life you don't want. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of work involved, but it's not torture. It shouldn't be that. So if you want to get resiliency, I don't want you to make it so much that you hate it. You want to add the resiliency training in a way that it's enjoyable. That you love it. I don't want people to read a book and hate reading. I want you to read a book the right way so that you enjoy reading the book, so that you do it again. Because I want you to keep resiliency training is something that builds up, and you want to go. You don't want to resent the whole training. You want to go slowly into it, right? So what I'm going to show you now is resiliency training for beginners, absolute beginners, okay? And how to do this. And it's good for us because I like that. To achieve a high level of mastery, you have to be able to go back to the beginning and see it new all the time. That's one of the key hallmarks of a master, is they're able to go become a new student, beginner's mindset, right? To see everything new. This is not just fancy words, but we have to try them, right? Now, I'm not going to do it because I've been doing it all week, and I need my body needs a day off. I'm too sore, but because Karen knows I've done it. I've done the whole class with everybody. So get into a push-up, okay? Lie down on the ground. Make sure I can see you guys. I'm going to talk you through what I'm thinking when I do this. Okay, so lie down on your stomach, yeah, just like in a push-up, right? Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open up your hands like long, and you're going to stretch out your legs, okay? So you feel very long, and you're going to, just stretch. Yeah, stretch from the fingers, stretch from the toes. Yeah, it's good, Miro. And stretch from the toes, stretch from the fingers, and don't go crazy, just a little bit of stretch. Like, do you see that feeling of openness? You see that, right? So pay attention to the feeling. You're long and lean now, okay? Make a mental note of that feeling. Put your hands now beside you in a push-up, okay? Make sure you don't lose that feeling, right? So put your hands beside you in a push-up. Come up with that feeling. So the push-up feels very like stretched. It feels long, the push-up. Stay there, okay? We're only going to hold this for a minute. It's not going to be a tremendous amount, because a minute is great. And while you're sitting in there, scan your body, okay? How's the position of your neck? Is it dropped down? Is it in line with your spine? Relax your shoulders, relax your elbows. You should feel pressure on the ground, but not necessarily muscles flaring, right? You try to equalize your weight amongst all points of support, feet, arms. So the middle is not drooping. It feels connected from the heel to your head. It feels like one line, and equally pressure distributed amongst the arms. Okay, 30 seconds left. And once all that's done, then you can breathe. Start to breathe and start to find some strength in the breathing, find some relaxation, but not collapsing. Like, you need to relax into the push-up, but not too much that the shape of the push-up is affected. 10 seconds. Awesome. Good. Lie down on your stomach again. Stretch your hands out. Now reach from the fingers and from the toes. And again, you're not doing it so much to stretch. You're doing it so much to kind of relax the muscles and get the feeling of how you want to feel in the push-up. You want to feel long in your push-up. You don't want to feel that you're in your push-up that your muscles are so tight that they shrink you. You want to go up in the push-up, and you want to feel stretched and open, just like this feeling right now. I'm going to do it just one more time. So slowly bring your hands back. Remember, don't lose that feeling. Breathe in, come all the way up into the push-up again, and then hold it there. So remember, first scan your body. Make sure that head to heel is nice line. Make sure pressure is equally distributed. Left hand to right hand, right foot, left foot. All your weight in your body. You're not too much in the upper body, but you have also weight towards the hips and the legs. So it's not all an upper body exercise, but the legs are involved. And stay there. Breathe and find relaxation, but without collapsing. Ten seconds. And come on up and sit on your bum. Come face the camera. So how was it? How did it feel? You there? Yeah, how did it feel, guys? Nothing like an effort level, 1 to 10. Low effort?
I was waiting for Miro to go, so that's why I was taking so long. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
So from 0 to 10, I think I would say 3.
Great. Good. Perfect.
But I just want to add something, because I feel like this is for the benefit of both your long distance people and the people that I've been in class with this week. Mm-hmm. So Miro, we've been kind of doing this in class a bit, but I've been trying to do some of this on my own. And so the reason why I say a 3 is because I've had a bit of a chance to scan my head, scan my body, and be more relaxed as I progress. So I would say, Emmanuel, when I first did it, I might have been a 6, whereas even just throughout the week, it's now dropped to a 3.
Good, great. Yeah, Miro?
I think it changes every day.
It can. Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking. Like, but it's really good to record that. And because but by my minute, it should be less than 5. Like it shouldn't be a high. And because the idea that resiliency training, people think like, oh my God, to be resilient, I have to make it extreme, right? It's like somebody saying, in order for me to consider myself a cyclist, I need to climb a hill for 3 hours, right, with my bike. That's absolutely ridiculous. You will never enjoy cycling like this. You will never build resiliency if you can't find a low level. And believe me, the level of resiliency now in people and societies is very low. Like they can't handle any, like they're very soft. Like it's pretty pathetic. So as long as your measure is somewhere like for a minute less than 5 out of 10, like it's not, like it didn't burden you more than that, then that's a good spot. If it did, do 30 seconds. Like you don't want it, like I don't want you to go to those higher levels until you understand something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
What I tried to say by this, it was we keep holding a push-up position for 5 minutes every week.
Okay.
But when I'm tired, when it's hot, when I'm busy returning from work, it's getting more difficult, even though the body is actually ready for this. It's just the head concentrating too many thoughts.
Of course. I never set a time. I will do, so there's 2 ways of looking at this, okay? If you're going to do resiliency training, you either do like a minute or do 10, or do really extreme 10 minutes. That middle ground is not as fruitful as you might think, okay? It doesn't have as much to teach you as you might think, okay? I like when I hold my push-up when I really want to build something, it's 10 minutes plus. because it really, it's hard, right? But that's not all the time. I don't do that all the time. And I'm not saying don't have like a set thing that you're doing all the time. Okay, does that make sense? Like try to vary it. Like sometimes hold a push-up 2 minutes, sometimes hold it 3 minutes, sometimes hold it 5 minutes. It does, don't have like a set, because it should be a little bit of a surprise, I guess, like something, right? Like do, sometimes don't even time it. Just time it, but don't look at the time at all. Just see how long you can go before you start to collapse, right? But the trick here is to build the attitude and the framework for building all kinds of resiliency stuff, right? You know, when I tell people fast, don't eat any food for, let's say, 18 hours, they're like, they lose their mind. Like some people are like, they it's too much, right? Okay, try 6 hours, you know, like build something. And then they try 8 hours, you know, slowly build it, right? And then you can go for a 3-day fast, right? I'm just saying, like, don't go right away, right? It goes in waves. So you want to build in, it's like breath work. It's like, don't go, just build in moments throughout your day where you're practicing your breathing. It's the same idea, right? Even 5 minutes a couple of times a day, just to remind yourself of breathing. That's what this is. Like by holding that push up in this example, you're just reminding yourself of being resilient, that how soft we are and how what we want to build, right? It's not just biceps and triceps. We want to build like a strong will. That's kind of where this is going, right? We're building a stronger, it's what I will not give up easier. It's kind of that perspective, right? Okay. And I find I was telling Karen before, that you want to train yourself where you have many options, not obligations. Okay, like don't obligate your training. Give your training lots of options. So my training has lots of options. Some days I just do tons of push-ups, other days I hold a push-up. So some days I'm trying to build movement, sometimes I'm trying to build resiliency, sometimes I'm trying to build breathing. Some, they're all connected, but I give myself in my systemic training lots of options, not obligations. Obligations will burden you, you'll hate them and cause resentment, right? You know, you have lots of options with your children, not obligations. Does it make sense? Like you can do lots of things in your day. You know, if you see fatherhood as an obligation, you will hate this. You have to see it with lots of options to help your children. It's lots of options. What I want to do today. I'm the same with my training. I do not like there's so many things I can cover in training, so many things I can do. I don't obligate myself to say this, and this. I have an idea, but it's not an obligation. I'm willing to change it like this, you know. If I feel I'm kind of fragile, I feel weak for whatever reason, right away I do like I'll do resiliency training, right? If I feel good, if I feel strong, I don't do that training. Like I kind of play with it, right? Don't make sure that you know you use this stuff in the right way when it's really meant to be. Okay, sound good? Okay, so that was a push-up. And you want to, like, I'm giving you like the 4 basic exercises, right? But I will do resiliency training with everything. I will do it with swimming. I will do it like treading water. You know, when you're just, you know, go in the middle of the water and just tread water in the pool and just see how long you can go. You know, make sure you tell people so they don't think you're drowning, right? Otherwise, just come in. Somebody have to come in and save you. But I love training in the water. Like I'll go under, hold my breath. You know, I'll do whatever to a really big degree, and just try not to give up so fast, right? Like if you look at me, I'm not a natural born swimmer. Okay, I can do a couple of lengths, okay, of the pool, and then I gotta stop, right? I'm much more of an old guy, aerobic water guy, right? Like I like, but I'll try to swim longer than I can, even though I start to. But I'm trying not to give up. Like I really put resiliency training into, you know, it's like it's like when you have pasta, you add a little Parmesan. It's like I add it to that and other stuff. But anyway, but it's like you sprinkle it everywhere. It's not like a meal. It's like you sprinkle this thing around. So try to get tricky with your training. Try to make sure you build in a little bit of it all the time. You know, the other day I used two little weights in my hands. They were like 4 or 5 pounds or something, and I just held them like this. you know, and I 5 minutes, you know, my shoulders are starting to shake, and then I held them like that, you know, and I held them like that. Now, is this my idea? No, I saw it in Bloodsport. That old Van Damme movie, right? I saw, you know, they were doing all this training. Don't give up. Don't give up. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Now, I'm not going to do the splits like he did with the weights, but I don't want to go that extreme. But you can build it in a little bit to everywhere. Okay, so we're doing it with the exercises now, but in your own life, try to build that in. Okay, make sense? Here's one that you want to try, and I really try. I don't know how much water do you guys drink when you wake up in the morning? How much water do you drink, Karen, in the morning?
20 ounces.
Okay, Miro, you how many? 0. Okay, I want you to wake up next morning within the first 20 minutes of your morning. So the moment you wake up, within 20 minutes, I want you to down 3 liters of water. 3 liters.
That's my week supply.
You try it. I just want you to try it for a couple of days. Look how hard you have to try to get 3 liters into you. It's a lot of water. You'll feel it. You'll feel it, but you'll also feel something else. I want you to try it. It's really interesting. It's super interesting. Yeah. I again, you have to work to get that amount in. That's not easy. Like I have to really, you're like 1 liter. Okay. By the second liter, and the third liter, it's like, wow, you know? And I did that. And I drink quite a bit of water throughout the day. I did that for a week, and then did a test to check for hydration. And I was exactly at level. I thought I was gonna break the Richter scale with hydration. I thought I was gonna be an aquarium or something. I don't know. I thought I was gonna have so much water in me. Guys, I thought I was so dehydrated. When they did the test, they did the blood work on me. After 1 week of drinking 3 liters of water every morning, plus other water throughout the day. So just wasn't just in the morning. I only registered an average amount of hydration on the scale. That's how dehydrated I was. I thought I was hydrated, and I'm just basically at the level. That was crazy. So you would be surprised. Like, it's stuff like this that is that's important. We need to build in just the resiliency of downing that amount of water. That's not easy to do. So it makes you resilient, right? Okay, let's move on. So you're seated in position, right? Feet in front of you. Okay, back nice and straight. Yeah, back nice and straight. So do a quick check, do a quick body scan. Make sure that your hips, your spine, your shoulder, everything is like, yeah, nice and level. So when you're sitting on your bum, you feel pressure on each hip bone equally, and you don't feel like you're slouching, right? Now, just lean back 6 inches, not much. You'll feel just enough to feel the abs, nothing more. Okay, so you still have a great posture, and you're engaged. Your midsection is engaged. Stay there, breathe. And again, as you're doing this, scan the body, scan posture, scan any other tension that is present. You'll feel a little bit in the thighs, of course. There shouldn't be too much in the feet. A little bit in the low back, maybe. For 6 inches, it shouldn't be that much. Now go back a little bit more, like 6 inches more. So it's almost 45 degrees, okay? Relax your neck, keep your head straight, keep the chest up so that you feel as parallel, like as good posture as you can. If you start to shake, breathe a little bit more, scan the legs to make sure there's appropriate tension, not too much. Ten seconds. Now go to the deepest level you can without losing your posture. Like without, head has to be straight too, okay? Yeah, your head, like as straight as you can be. And then slowly come up. That's it. Yeah. Again, find your Find your center, don't slouch, keep yourself nice and straight. Breathe and just, if you want, you can take your hands and just massage your stomach if you feel like some extra tension that was there, but just kind of, if you, as you were doing that body raise, if you felt too much tension in the stomach, kind of massage it. So you kind of go down in 3 stages now. You go down just 6 inches, which is not hard at all, but enough to fill your stomach. You go down another 6 inches, which is definitely enough to engage more of the stomach. And then you want to go down as far as you can without bending and rounding the back or the head. So if that's 45, it's 45, wherever that is. But don't go into a place where your back is rounded and your head is forwarded to hold that position, okay? Back 6 inches. Scan and breathe, scan and breathe. Pay attention. Like, all resiliency training will mean nothing if you can't analyze where resiliency and stubbornness. So you got to always check, like, where is it? Stubbornness has a different type of tension to it. Six inches more. Again, straight posture, scan the body, because the different angle changes things in the body. So there will be some more tension. It's fine. Just make sure it's appropriate. Make sure things aren't working that aren't necessary. They're necessary, only necessary. Five seconds. Now go to the deepest place you can go without breaking your posture. Keep breathing. Find that spot. Hold it just a little bit. And slowly come up. Again, effort level should be quite low. Meaning it shouldn't be too challenging to do this, right? We're just laying, a little bit of resiliency training into our body raise. Okay, lie down on your backs now. Massage your stomach just a little bit from the body raise, just to make sure it feels okay. Lift your legs straight up in the air, so right up high. So again, it should be quite easy. So they're 90 degrees up. If you need to bend your knees, you can bend them, but try to keep them as straight as you can if it doesn't affect your low back. They're together, and you want them to kind of together, right? Scan your body quickly, make sure everything is level. You feel your back, head pressure, hip pressure. Then slowly let your legs go down about 6 inches. Just a little bit. And you should definitely feel now the stomach. Stay there and breathe. Scan the body, right? Look for any unnecessary tension or the appropriate tension for what you're doing. Six inches lower. So you're not at 45 yet, but you're about 1/3. Yeah, you're about 1/3, right? Once again, scan the body and just check. Ten seconds. Now bring the legs to the lowest point you can, and and still be okay, like maybe 6 inches from the ground, right? Use your breathing, make sure your back is on the ground, your head is on the ground. Keep breathing. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Awesome. Bring your legs all the way up. Hold it there. Massage your stomach a little bit if you need, if it feels like something. Yeah, just kind of work that. Especially low towards like the belt, because that's usually where the abs kind of connect with the hips. And in that area, usually it's like lots of tension. You want to actually push into there if you can. You know, I usually use a stick, to be honest with you, like a short stick, and get into that hip joint there where it connects. Okay, put your legs together again. Keep them nice and high up, right? High up. Now we're going to go to one side. So you're going to, let's say the left side, right? So both legs are going to go, not down to the ground, but to that one side, right? So keep the middle. Slowly bring both legs to about 6 inches to the left side. Okay. And again, scan your body, breathe, breathe and scan your body and just check. Every time everything feels good, move it a little bit more towards the ground, just a little bit, like, inch at a time, and just progressively work your way towards the ground on the left side, but don't touch the ground, but stop about 6 inches before. And then again, progressively work your way back up when you get to that point, but try hold those positions as long until you start to see it breaks you apart, right? Like where it gets stubborn, squeeze it for the resiliency, but if it starts to eat you, move it up or change it. And when you get back to the middle, then slowly go to the right side now, right? And again, inch by inch, 6 inches by 6 inches, whatever you choose, and just hold as much as you can with breathing. You might find one side easier than the other. It varies tremendously, sometimes from left to right, depending on lots of things. Awesome, guys, really good. Okay, put your legs down, massage your stomach a little bit, and just kind of see how it feels. Massage your stomach. Awesome. Come on up. Just kind of see how that feels. How that, how'd you find that? You find it? We missed a few things, but I'll explain them because I want you guys to hear what you have to say.
I found it pretty interesting doing the side ones today.
Mm-hmm.
I would have, I mean, obviously class has to continue, but it would be really fun for me just to play with the length of time it would take for me to go all the way down, holding each as long as I possibly can, and then holding each one all the way up again.
That's hard because the accumulated effort is going to be difficult, right? Like maybe you could hold long here, but then you ran out of energy coming up. So it's just, so there's two ways of being resilient. One is just holding. So that's what I'm trying to show you. You can just hold that, and that's one way. And then there's the slow one, which is like I'm doing like so I can hold a push-up, or I could say I'm going to do one push-up, but I'm going to go as slow as I can. And that also builds resiliency, right? Because it has a connection to patience. Like, to be resilient, the kind of like a side characteristic is patience. When people, the reason they're not resilient is because the result wasn't fast enough. That's why they like fast results. So and people get away with that, right? Like they get away with that. They get away with like, if I can give you some different examples, like I archery. You guys know I do archery, and I also bow hunt with my bow. Now, the big reason if somebody chooses to go hunting doesn't use a bow is because you have to be more patient, right? Because the animal has to come very close to you. So the reason they don't do it is because if they don't have the time to waste in it. Resiliency training takes time and needs patience, right? So because there's a lot, it's also super frustrating. So slow will build resiliency too, right? It'll also build resiliency and different markers. But and again, I love training with lots of options, right? So the options are my thing. I can hold if that's how I feel. I can go slow if that's how I feel. I can do fast training if that's how I feel. Like, because I like those options. I don't want the obligations of having to do something and only that thing on this certain day, right? Miro, how was it for you?
For me, there were funny parts, especially when going down and when playing with the breathing level of the stomach, of the belly.
Yes.
And when it collapses, I lose a lot of energy, and not trying to keep floating the stomach and breathing freely through the belly, and yet keep the legs up.
Yeah. So when you have that problem, because you're the problem that you're isolating is that you're losing pressure. Maybe
Yes.
not. You're using pressure. Okay. So where you're sitting now, right? Pressurize your stomach, like tense it up, right? So you can feel the muscles, right? You feel the muscles. Now, keep your posture, keep everything, keep the stomach strong. Relax the stomach, but keep the pressure or the fullness. Maybe the fullness would be better. So keep the shell. So when I make a strong stomach, right? And I relax my stomach, I try to keep that same shell. Okay. And so when you relax, you didn't allow it to affect your shell too much. Okay. I don't want to go off topic too much, but when I lie down on the ground, I'm breathing, right? So, I want to feel the rise and fall. Okay. And you should too. But then when I want to try some resiliency training with my breathing, it's not just breath holds, but I try to lie on the ground and breathe in such a way that I don't rise and fall, but my body stays still. So it's like if somebody was watching me, they would think I was dead. Like there's no movement. So, but there is inside. But so I'm breathing, but I don't allow my body to go down or up. So I have to open and close my lungs inside, not outside. So this is like you have two people standing on you, right? And you can't rise, right? Or lots of people piled up on top of you. You can't rise your chest. There's just too much weight. So there's pressure. So you have to breathe inside, right? This is also a type of training as well. So when I feel like, let's say I'm holding a push-up, and when I breathe out, I feel like the push-up is collapsing a little bit. That's again, I would make my arms strong, relax them, but keep the same shape. So watch my arms now, just so you can see them, right? I'm tensing up my arms, I'm relaxing them now. Did you see any change? Not too much. Not even, I can see it, part of my bicep that's torn. I can even watch that. It's how I tense it up and I relax it. I try not to even let the muscles change in shape too much. Okay. I don't want to, you know, it's not like I'm bodybuilding competition, you know, those guys, right? I'm totally not doing that. But the posing is nice. Right? It's for all of us in the morning when nobody's looking in the mirror. Anyway, so if you feel that you've lost pressure or that it's collapsing, then that's how you do it. You make it tense, and then you relax it, but you keep that shell. It doesn't change. Okay, makes sense. You see that often. You know, if you're walking with some friends on the beach, right? As soon as you pass by some attractive girls, everybody they suck in their stomach, right? It's like, why did you suck in your stomach? Anyway, so many interesting things. Okay, stand up now. Just stand up. Last one, and we have a good framework here, right? I'm sure the stuff I'm showing you is easy for you to show other people. 1 minute should not be too much of a challenge. Okay. So feet shoulder width apart, not too far, but exactly your shoulder width. And you're going to squat down, I would say only 6 inches, just enough that you feel a bend in your knee and the quads working, right? So squat down just 6 inches. That's it. It's really mild. Believe me, why I'm saying this, because this is for some old people, especially old people, right? This is great because it can build even a little bit of the quads, especially if they sit a lot, right? Like they don't move their legs enough, right? Even a 6-inch bend can strengthen the thighs and stretch the calves, right? That's why keep the heels down so you get the stretch in the Achilles and you working the quads, right? So again, please scan the body, posture, head, shoulder, right knee, left knee, like make sure that everything is equal. If you feel like, because sometimes with the legs, you feel like, okay, if they feel good, go 6 inches lower, right? And again, stop, make sure you scan the body. You'll feel more of a stretch in your calves. You'll feel more of an effort in your thighs, and that's good. Okay. Look for any pain. Like sometimes people have different types of knee issues, so look for any pain. Back of the knee, the middle of the knee, the outside, the inside, the front of the kneecap. Hold it there. Ten seconds. And very, very slowly up. Good. Give your legs a little shake. Not to shake them out. And the shake is very important. When you shake your leg, you should feel the quad muscle and the hamstring and the calf. They should be wiggling around. They're not stuck to the bone. You should feel your quads and your muscles like they shouldn't be stuck on your bone. They should be able to wiggle freely around the bone of your leg, right? The femur. Okay. Legs now wider than shoulder width apart. So maybe 6 inches wider. So they're outside the frame of your shoulder, but not into the splits or something, but they're definitely outside the frame, right? It might be more comfortable for you to turn your toes out. It might not, whatever feels comfortable on your leg, right? Squat down 6 inches. Okay. Scan the body quickly, make sure that posture is good, breathing is good. you will definitely feel a few different types of muscles in the quads now, because the further out you go, different muscles engage. Six inches lower. Feel that stretch. Feel the stretch in the calves. Look at the pressure at the knee. Ten seconds. And slowly up. Give your legs a quick shake, like your thighs, and move them around. Yeah, really try feel them, like move them, like really, like yeah, make sure they move around the femur. If they're stuck, you need to go for a massage. You need to work on that. Those big muscles need to. A lot of people's knee injuries come from the quads and hamstrings way too tight, pulling on the knee. Okay, now last one. Your legs wider apart, like even another 6 inches, right? Not splits, but quite far. Okay. Squat down as about halfway now, because the wider distance easier to go down. About halfway. Stay there. Okay. Now, if you want to add a little bit more resiliency, just put your hands in front of you. It helps for balance, like if you put it in front, and it also will start to work on the top of your shoulders. Yeah. Just hold that, or like this, whichever. Yeah, any position like this is also fine. Yeah, and just stay there. Try to be as still as you can. Just breathe and scan your body. Scan, scan, scan. A little bit lower if you can, just a little bit there. Yeah, hold, breathe. Mm, 10 seconds now. And very slowly up. Give your legs and arms a shake a little bit. Good. Come close. How was that? Yeah. How was it?
I found it really interesting to do 3 different leg widths. The first and the second, it was kind of interesting. It was like, okay, I could hold this a lot longer. And then the third one was
Yep.
was not easy for me. Like just very different in terms of the feeling in my thighs in particular.
Yeah, I will do what I call a clock. So what I do is I start with my feet together, and I'll take a small step forward, and then I'll kneel down like that. And then later, a really long step forward and then kneel down. Okay. And I just hold it there. And again, as long as I can before I feel it's stubborn, right? And so what you're doing, they're straddles, right? They're different straddles like that. But again, posture is straight, right? And I'll do them like this way, even that way, right? Like I keep one leg in the same spot, and I move with the legs and I go down. And I'll hold again as long as I can before I feel stubbornness. Like I want the resiliency, but I don't want to feel like I'm but those kind of like steps around and then around. So again, anything. You can do this with absolutely anything. Arm hangs, squats, any activity, like any exercise that you choose to utilize this with will have the exact same effect, right? Because the main goal is to stay in that and be more resilient with it. Okay. Now, I know, I don't know if Miro, you've seen this, but there was a test done a long time ago. It's quite an experiment that was done long time ago with a series of kids. It's called the marshmallow experiment. I don't know if you've heard of that. You heard of it? No? Okay, guys, no, it's famous. You should hear this. What's wrong with you guys? Slapping you both. Guys, a famous experiment from the 50s. So scientists interviewed a bunch of kids. They brought, I can't remember, 100 kids, right? They documented the kids from different backgrounds, the different genders, backgrounds, young kids. They brought them into a room and they wanted to ask them a bunch of questions. The scientist, doctor, whatever he was, as soon as the kid got into it, introduced himself and said, "Excuse me, I have to leave. I'll be back in 5 or 10 minutes." As he left, in the room was one marshmallow sitting in a plate, and they had a camera filming but the kids didn't know. And the kid's by himself in a room with a marshmallow on a plate. And the experiment was, how long will it take for this kid to eat the marshmallow? How long will he, like, right after or 5 minutes? So they documented some kids ate it as soon as the doctor left. Some kids ate it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it took for them to grab it and eat it. Then the doctor came back and they went along with a fake interview. The whole reason was, and they tracked these kids for their entire life. So they're dying now. That's how long the experiment has been. They made a connection with kids that can delay gratification. So in other words, the marshmallow is the gratification. So the kid that could wait 10 minutes was more successful than the kid that couldn't wait, that waited 5 minutes, that waited 2 minutes. So the longer you can delay that, the more resilient that kid was to not grab that marshmallow, the more successful they were. That's crazy. That's such a simple exercise that clearly shows you why. Hold on. You won't die if you don't eat it. Like, if hold on, like, bring it to that point. Now, of course, the main goal here is to know all of this doesn't work unless you know where your weakness starts and where your stubbornness goes. Like, you need to find the sweet spot where it's benefiting you, right? You need to analyze all your actions for the upside and for the downside. There are some actions that take so much energy with very little upside. I'm telling you, resiliency training has almost very little downside and nothing but massive upside. Why would you not do this training? That's all that is, right? When you look at the amount of effort bodybuilders put into their muscles, right? Huge amount of energy. But if they get sick for just 2 weeks, almost all that muscle is gone. The strength dissipates so quickly, right? Energy wasted on a physical body, like it can be gone in less than 30 days. It can literally deteriorate if you get sick. But resiliency training stays with you forever. If you have it, if you built it into your DNA, it's like riding a bike. You'll almost never give up. Okay. It's a true characteristic. So you want to layer your workout training. Even in Systema, there are times where I'm wrestling with somebody and they're good. And I'm like, I just need to figure out how long I can last with this person. So the measure of success will be, how long before I give up. I try to buy like minutes and seconds. If you've ever talked to any survivors of violence, right? Hanging on is huge, right? Is those are moments. People that survive extreme situations, like I'm trapped in a desert, that guy that can hold on, right? Remember that movie Castaway? Remember Castaway with Tom Hanks? He was a guy lost on, and he took a ball and he made a face on the ball, and he just so he could have, and he bought time till he was saved. Like, you need to know he was resilient enough. He goes, I can't be alone on this island. So he made up the ball to represent a person, right? it's the same. You're going to be on this push-up, holding the push-up, and you want to give up. Come up with something that you can talk to, or something that you're not. So I can hold a push-up a hell of a lot longer if Miro is beside me and Karen's beside me, and we can have a conversation, because we can distract ourselves to be more resilient, right? So distraction is horrible on Instagram, but it's amazing to hold up a push-up and become more resilient, right? Misery loves company, so it's so good, right? It's so good that way. The one of my guiding things that moves me when I do any kind of stuff on social media is always be very respectful of people's time, right? I really don't like using that's put stuff out there that respects people's time, right? This is how I look at things, right? Resiliency training respects your time. It really does. It is great bang for its buck. You are going to build up so many parts of your body in one shot. It's touching the mental, because you're thinking, you're just sitting there and you're dealing with your mind. It touches the spiritual, it touches the physical, it touches all these parts. So when people are wrestling with me, trying to, they're bet, I'm just trying to buy time. And all of a sudden, bang, I find the solution, right? So anybody watch that fight with Muhammad Ali when he beat George Foreman in Zaire, right? He was, guys, 7 rounds. George Foreman pounded on Muhammad Ali. He was so resilient. He trained that resilience. And later, after the fight, when he won, and they asked how he trained him. All his trainers told him, we beat up Muhammad Ali. We beat him up for 4 months before he had to face George Foreman. So people talk about how resilient he was to handle the beating that George Foreman gave him, until he finally could knock him out in the 7th round, meaning Muhammad Ali could knock him out. This big mammoth of a man finally gassed himself out, and he knocked him out. He did 4 months of intense resiliency training to be able to deal with this big monster. Okay, you need to, not maybe that extreme, but resiliency training has to be slow and steady, and has to give you energy. You should feel like you want to do it. It shouldn't torture you. Okay, so when you're doing it yourself, and when you're showing it to somebody else who you feel is soft, start with a minute. Push up, squat, leg raise, but take them 5 minutes. If they do that for 5 minutes for 30 days, they're going to build resiliency. There's no doubt. Hands down, they're not going to give up. And then 1 minute will turn into 2 minutes, will turn into 3 minutes, and before you know, you're holding a 10-minute push-up comfortably, and you will not give up when problems come your way. Okay, makes sense, guys? Makes sense. There's a lot in this video of resiliency. I've said a lot of stuff, and hopefully you guys go back and watch it and kind of pick away some of the points I made. Okay, but ask me anything if you have any questions, guys. Just ask me. Look, it's okay. Was it an interesting topic for you guys? Yeah.
I think it's just that this topic is so core topic that it's unavoidable. Like
it is unavoidable.
But it's so much in there that it takes time. And
yeah.
I'm playing, a lot of time when I tried different holding, I was realizing that the attitude was a problem, in the way that I wanted to do this, but I was hesitating to give myself time to do this. Like, you're training for self, but you know that you need to do this afterwards, and you need to clean the kitchen, go with the kids. I don't know. You have phones, a lot of emails to sort out, and I think there's a lot of deep parts in there.
But you can do this with the kids. I trust me, Mara. Like, even when you're with the kids, you can do this at a park. You can do it. They can just play around you while you're holding it here. That is a thing, and just that stuff is, you can sneak it in. Don't make it like separate. Like, meaning, don't make it like, I get it. We all need to get stuff done, but that stuff can be done so sneaky. You're waiting for an elevator. Hold the squat on the side. Nobody will notice you, right? You're at the park, but like these little moments, they don't require like a separate day. They just require little tidbits. Like I said, just sprinkle it on different parts of your day. Just sprinkle it on. You don't need to create something separate. I don't have like a resiliency day. I just build it into like all the stuff. It's like a side dish that I always have, you know. It's funny. It does so much good. I love to have a. It's just funny, different off topic, but similar. I love cabbage. I love eating a little bit of cabbage with all my meals because it's so good for my stomach. It really helps my gut. It really does. And it's like the best little thing I ever eat. It's like just a small bowl of cabbage with whatever I'm eating, and it gives me such great health for my stomach. It always gives me great health, right? And the same with the resiliency. I just sneak it into everything I'm doing, and it gives me such great, like, I know the difference between stubborn and resilient. Trust me, I know that's it. I never want to go stubborn. It's hurt me in my life. It's caused me some of the biggest injuries I've ever had, and I'm well aware of it now. So I know my I'm dialed in to that aspect of what I got to do. I'm really dialed in. So you got to do the same thing. Really figure it out, and then let me know how it goes. Okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, there's also very thin layer or very thin boundary between being stubborn and
Yes, you got to find it.
yeah.
Yes, you got to find it. You're right. There's very different between the C and D major. Find it. You just gotta figure it out. There's no other way because yeah, I'll agree. It's very subtle, but it's also the negative is detrimental. You just got to know that difference, right? It's like you got to know the difference. I know a shark and a dolphin look alike, but you just got to figure that out before you go swimming, okay? Because don't go swimming with sharks, okay? But they look close, but you got to know the difference. That's okay, guys. I got to run. I've got my parking meter's expiring. I got to go before I get a ticket. Bye, everybody. Have a
Thank you,
great
Manny.
weekend. I'll see you
Have a nice
Friday.
weekend.
You too,
Bye.
guys. Bye. Bye.